Hello, everybody. Welcome to Freestyle with Mark Fisher, and my name is Mark Fisher, and this is on my channel, Las Vegas Travel and More, and I want to welcome you to my channel and also welcome to the show. I've got a great show lined up for you today. I want to thank everybody who watched my debut show last week, and it was very well received. I had a good time with Denver Stevo as my guest, and if you're interested in seeing these things, please subscribe to my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated. This is a live interaction show, so get in the chat. You can basically, good afternoon. Here we go. We've got Hans Christian Schwartz. Good afternoon from Germany. Guten Tag. I hope that's the right way to say that. Anyway, we want to welcome you. And Jill G says, good day. It's good to see you here as well. But anyway, you can get in the chat. We're going to put your comments up, also your questions. If you have a question, you can write the word question. I'll highlight it, start, and I'll answer the questions and all that. And the idea is just to have a good time here. You're going to learn a bit more about my guests, the guests that I have on here, and about myself. And we hope you find it entertaining and informative. And without further ado, I would like to introduce my guest today. And this is somebody that I've known for over 40 years. She is a great mother, a great grandmother, and more importantly, a great friend, and also the co-host of my other channel that I have with her called Scientology Peeling the Onion. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Janis Gillham Grady. Hi, Janis. Woo!
Hello from Las Vegas.
Yeah, ride 'em, cowboy.
Oh, dear.
How you doing today, Janis?
I'm very good, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day
busy.
here.
It's a great day. Great day.
We're finally in the 80s. I know that sounds hot, but it's not hot. It's very nice here. Jill G says, good day to Janis. Good day, Jill G. But it's very comfortable right now, and this is kind of the nice weather this time of year. We've had lots of cold, rainy weather and windy weather throughout the wintertime, but right now it's getting to be much warmer. Anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and welcome you, Janis, and we're going to talk a little bit. You don't know the different things that I've got planned for you, but hopefully our viewers, we'll learn a little bit more about you, and because you're a great person and a good friend and a lot of fun. And so without further ado, I want to go ahead and get started here. And we're going to start first with living in Las Vegas. This channel is called Las Vegas Travel and More. And I wanted to talk to you because you've been here in Las Vegas for what, 33, 34 years now? Is that right?
Yeah. I arrived like December 31st, 1990.
Right.
So since 91, I've basically been in Vegas.
Well, tell people, what were your initial impressions when you got to Las Vegas, and what did you think about living here at that time?
Well, my initial impression was this is a new world. I just left Scientology and I never lived in a house type of thing,
Yeah.
But Las Vegas at the time, the county, the Clark County was only 800,000 people. It wasn't even up to 1 million, and we're now at 3 million people. So
right.
it was much smaller. The west side ended at Rainbow, which is now all the way out to Red Rock. And the north side ended at Lake Mead, which is now all the way out to pretty much Sheep Mountain. So
yeah, exactly.
It's just taken up the whole valley.
Yeah, and you and I, we've kind of participated in that expansion because we work together in the mortgage business, and we're involved in that. Of course, your sister is a real estate agent here in town and also was in the mortgage business and all that. We see Terry Ray is in here. Hi, good to see you. Happy weekend to you too. But do you remember what it was like when you first got here? I know you were pregnant with your son John, right?
Yeah, I was, and it was funny. Well, as soon as we arrived, of course, it was New Year's. So there I was pregnant down at the Mirage, and the volcano was going off, and everyone seemed to have been downtown. That you couldn't even turn around. It was so packed for New Year's.
Right.
And So that's my first memories of Las Vegas. And then, we used to go down to the buffets all the time and stuff out places. It was okay for me. I put on so much weight. I had the excuse to be pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, like for me as well. I mean, we had just come from Scientology Sea Organization food, which we ate 3 meals a day, and we actually had better food than most people in that, right? But immediately I like put on 35 pounds the first 6 months because you're right. We would go to the buffets. It was cheaper to go eat at the buffets at the casino, really, even than to cook food. And we also we were able to go see shows. We weren't doing the tied down to our jobs 24/7, and so it was quite liberating that way, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a totally different life having, you actually would feel guilty taking time off because you were so used to working, and it's like, it's the weekend.
Well, if you think
I
about it,
don't have
we
to
still
work.
we still had the mindset of, oh, we'll work late or we'll do. I mean, I just remember that because we were trying to survive. I mean, we weren't making very much money, so we were putting in long hours anyway, trying to make money, that I recall. But of course, then you also had to deal with the fact that you were pregnant at the same time, right?
Yeah. But, I remember being surprised that 5 o'clock came, everyone was gone.
Yeah.
Where in Scientology, 5 o'clock came, you were still working.
That's right. Hans Christian Schwartz says, I'm wondering, did Las Vegas draw you in, or was it pure happenstance you landed there? Go ahead, Janice. You want to tell that story?
Well, what happened is a friend of mine and my sisters who had been public with our mother and knew our mother. He was living in Colorado at the time, and he wanted to move to Las Vegas and set up a mortgage company because Las Vegas at the time was actually on the news as Boomtown, USA.
Right.
And we had just gotten out of Scientology. We didn't have jobs. I was the militant babysitter, just just to get a little money. And so he said, why don't you come to Vegas and I'll teach you the mortgage industry? Well, I didn't even know what a mortgage was, but okay, it's work. So that's what drew us to Las Vegas, was seeing that there was work there for us and we could learn something.
And the other factor was we wanted to work together because we had nobody
Yeah,
except
exactly.
ourselves. So we thought, let's go into business and do something together. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had you, Paul and I, and Terry and Fernando
And that was
started. And
Yeah.
then I got a hold of Kenny Lipton and he came and joined us. And then we got a hold of Cheryl and Jean Detchiff and they came and joined us. And then Mickey Lipton joined us and Jan Wise left us and Jeff Walker. And we just started growing.
Yeah, we became sort of like an ideal organization in Las Vegas. Although we weren't making very much money, we kind of became the safe haven for people who were leaving Scientology and the Sea Organization here in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's how we ended up here and all that. But let me ask you a few questions now, because you've lived here a long time. Obviously, we've both been here for almost 34 years. What is it that you like about Las Vegas, and what are some of the things that you don't like about Las Vegas?
I do love the weather here. I'm a sun worshiper, and so that I do like the weather, and it's dry. It's not. I don't like the humidity like in Florida. I like the dry heat. It's easy to get around. We've got more congestion in traffic now with a lot of Californians moving here, but they've been moving here for 30 odd years now.
Yeah.
But it's gotten much worse. But our roads are set up for it. We have wide roads and everything's straight, it's like crisscross, no windy roads.
Directions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go north, south, east, or west. You don't have to go in between. Anyway, so that's what I like. And we have open desert still. And I go horse riding 2-3 times a week. So I like to get out in the desert. And that's one of my pleasures, is going horse riding. And we don't have ticks and we don't have fleas. So being outside, you're not bothered by those type of things.
Right. Right. And how about what about the food and things to do and that type of thing besides horseback riding? What else do you like to do here in Las Vegas?
Well, yeah, usually every Friday, a group of us all go and we have dinner together, and that's always fun. And trying to figure out a new restaurant to go to, and I've already seen probably most of the shows, so I just don't go to the shows anymore until I see something new. Like there is one. I told my sister, I said, we're going to this show on my birthday, and it's down at the Orleans. It's a murder mystery dinner.
Oh, wow.
Well, Paul and I used to go to one because we had a friend who was the actress in the murder mystery. So we'd go to and watch her and be a part of it. So I saw this on and I was like, okay, that's what I got to do on my birthday is go to the murder mystery dinner.
How about what are the people like here in Las Vegas that you've met over the years?
I find them friendly. Yeah, I've been here so long that I know a lot of people, and I always know that if I need something or have a question or help, I just have to call them and they're there for me. And these are people that I didn't even know prior to being in the mortgage industry. And when I was after being in the mortgage industry, what was it? Probably 5 years. No, 10 years. I got involved with the Association for Mortgage Brokers. And that's where I got a lot more friends and I knew people from all the different mortgage companies.
That's right. Okay. And then what don't you like about Las Vegas? That no place is perfect. So what are some of the things that bug you or you don't like about it?
The increased traffic.
Okay. Okay.
The Spaghetti Bowl. The Spaghetti Bowl is where 95 and the 15 meet together, and it's always been called the Spaghetti Bowl. But that's ridiculous now. They've figured out ways to try and get around it with the HOV lane, but it's a nightmare.
It's an epic fail, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you another thing. I get asked this all the time because I've lived here, right? Is I don't gamble. You don't gamble either, right? But people go, how can you live in Las Vegas with all the gambling that's going on there? What's your answer to that question? And I'll give you mine.
Well, I don't have that. When we first got here, we actually found we didn't have a lot of money. It was cheaper to put a few quarters in a slot machine and keep playing it than the two of us going to a movie. So we'd do that, and I'd put some quarters in, and Paul would stand behind me and tell me which ones to push, But also having been in the mortgage industry and seeing a guy inherit a home, it's free and clear. He comes in and gets a loan against it to pay off his gambling debts. And then he comes back a second time to get more cash out to pay off more gambling debts until he loses the house, or you see people on the one lady at the corner 7-Eleven store. Paul got talking to her, and she was only working there because she had to pay off her gambling debts. And as soon as she paid them off, she was getting out of town. So it's better not to gamble.
Well,
but that's what makes this town.
What I was going to say is that generally speaking, if you move here, you get gambling out of your system within the first 6 months, or you move away because you're going to lose all your money, right? I mean, we used to, like you said, we'd throw quarters in at the car wash. I remember I used to, while I was waiting for my car wash, I'd put some quarters in, and I'd try and win the money back that I was paying for the car wash, and every once in a while I would, right? But I tell people this all the time when I see them in Las Vegas. I said, yeah, no, I don't gamble here because that's how we pay for our roads and schools.
Exactly.
All you suckers coming in town and losing, that's how we get our tax revenue for our roads and schools. So, you kind of get it out of your system quickly. It's not money that you could just sort of burn and give away. Now, that being said, I know a lot of friends that'll go. I mean, every local bar, there's bars all over town, as well as like 7-Elevens and grocery stores. They've all got slot machines and video poker, and there are people that are in there playing. And I know people that will win from time to time, but they also don't show you the times that they've lost as well. So
Right.
Eventually the house is going to win. But my favorite
You-
Rodney Danger, go ahead.
You can't build those hotel casinos with people winning. You know, the house has to be the one winning to build properties like that.
My favorite Rodney Dangerfield joke was, "Oh yeah, they got slot machines and gambling at the grocery store." He goes, "I went to buy a carton of milk. It cost me $225."
That's true.
Anyway, okay, great. Well, that's what I wanted to find out about. And then how about one other question I wanted to ask you, because you were involved in the mortgage industry and still are to some degree, and also your sister is big time real estate and all that. What is happening right now in Las Vegas real estate? Are properties still high? Are they holding their value, or are you know what I mean? I know mortgage interest rates are higher now, but what's going on there as far as people coming to Vegas and moving here?
Well, the values are still increasing despite the increase in the interest rates, putting the values of the properties way out of range for any of the locals. You know, I mean, we're a very blue collar town with a lot of people who are the cleaners and the workers at the hotels. You know, they used to be able to afford houses here. They can't anymore because the value's gone up so much. You sell in California, you pay off your mortgage, you got cash left, you come to Las Vegas, and they're buying their houses cash.
That's right. Yeah. And then just two quick bits of Las Vegas news I'll just briefly mention. They're building a high-speed rail train between Las Vegas and California, and they're actually going to break ground next week on it. It's called the Bright Line. It's going to be one of those bullet trains that's going to go right down the Interstate 15 to California, and then right back here where you'll be able to go between Las Vegas and California in less than 2 hours. And that's actually going to be a pretty cool thing. They're breaking ground on that. And then the other thing too is that, you know, I've mentioned in earlier videos on my channel about Elon Musk has a company called the Boring Company, where they bore tunnels underground for transportation or utilities or, you know, whatever. And they already have a loop that they have set up that they've done at the convention center here in Las Vegas, and they drive Teslas underneath there. You can go between the different conference halls. Well, they are extending it here in Clark County to all the different hotels and stuff like that. And it's going to take a long time, but they just broke ground on a piece of property, and they're starting to bore a tunnel from the Harry Reid to Las Vegas Airport, down Paradise Road to the convention center, and it's going to stop at the Virgin Hotel and a couple other places. So that's coming along, and they're making progress on that, and it'll be a way for people to, you know, quickly and easily move between hotels and casinos and convention centers. So that's a little Las Vegas news for you there. All right, it's time to move on to our next segment, and without further ado, here we go.
With the Zoomies.
There you go. It's playtime with Misha. She had to make an appearance. I had to reach into the archives for obviously when she was a little puppy there, but I thought our viewers would enjoy that. And of course, you've met Misha, right, Janis?
Yeah, she's beautiful, sweet girl.
Misha is adorable. I wanted to share that, but we're not just going to feature Misha here. My guest also has some furball friends, and here we go.
Boys are sitting, or one's lying. You're being very patient. You know what I've got for you, huh? Rocky. Oh, Rocky's gone.
The worst mess.
And there they are, Rocky and Moose, right?
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's funny is right. Anyway, Janice, always love the fur babies. Absolutely. Tell everybody about Rocky and Moose and how they came into your life.
Well, one of my writing friends mentioned that a groomer had two Labradoodles that she was trying to find a home for because the original owner was going through a divorce and had left them at the groomers, and the groomer had them for 2 months, and then the lady finally said she couldn't take them back, so the groomer was trying to rehome them, and I went and met them and just fell in love with them and brought them home. And it was good because my husband had died a year before, and I hated going home to an empty house. So adding them to the house I looked forward then to going home and sitting down with the boys and just hanging with them.
That's right. That's right. Here's a picture of them here. And of course, that's your granddaughter, Elizabeth, right?
Yes, yeah.
And she loves the dogs, doesn't she?
Oh, they get so excited as soon as they hear the garage door opening, they get so excited and go running over to wait for Elizabeth to come in.
And okay, and then which one's Rocky and which one's Moose? Because I always get it wrong.
Okay, Rocky is the small black one. He's about 4 years old. And Moose is the big brown one. And Moose is only 2.5.
Wow.
But he's like about 120, 130 pounds. And Rocky's maybe 60.
And they're pretty well behaved. They are watchdogs for you, right? I mean, anytime anybody gets near the door, they go off, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Every time the mailman comes, we can hear it while we're doing live videos. So this is Rocky, is that right?
Yeah, that's Rocky.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. They're sweet boys. And then, of course, I couldn't resist. This was a photo that you posted this week, and that's your beautiful daughter Erin and your granddaughter Elizabeth, right?
Yep, sending kisses to Grandma.
They're so cute and so beautiful and all that. And I'm going to have Erin on the show coming up here soon, and we'll talk and we'll learn a bit more about Erin as well. And I didn't realize that Rocky and Moose were such a new addition to your family. Yeah, that's right. And Janice, tell everybody the reason you call it Rocky and Moose, you were going to call them Rocky and Bullwinkle, right?
Well, their original names were Rocky and Rollin', rock and roll, I guess. I just didn't. To me, he was like, it was Rocky and Bullwinkle because Moose was so big, but it was kind of hard to say Bullwinkle, So because Bullwinkle was a moose, I called it Rocky and Moose.
There you go, everybody. That's something you didn't know here, right? Anyway, that's the story of the dogs. I hope you guys enjoyed those videos. And it's time to move on to my next segment, and we're going to learn some truth or false with James.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm going to be asking you some questions, Janice, okay?
Okay.
And you need to answer true or false, and then you can tell the little story about them, okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, here we go. True or false? You've traveled more miles by ship than many people have by airplane.
True.
Okay. Why is that? Tell people about that.
Well, when I left Australia when I was 10, we sailed from Australia all the way up to England. So that was like a 6-week trip. And then from the age of 11 to 19, 8 years, I lived on the Royal Scotsman later named the Apollo. So I sailed around the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, and the Caribbean for 8 years of my life. And then after I got over the trauma of being like a slave on a ship, I started cruising, and I enjoy just relaxing now on a cruise.
Right, not having to do work on the ship. Yeah, no, I was going to mention that, you mentioned in your book, this is Janice's book, Commoner's Messenger, book 1, about that cruise from Australia all the way up through the Panama Canal to England when you moved to St. Hill. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
how old
I'm
were you?
gonna cruise back through the Panama Canal at the end of this year. I'm gonna go back through there.
That's right. That's right. How old were you when you and your sister and brother when you left on that cruise? From Australia.
Oh, I just turned 10. I was 10 years and 20 days old when we went on the ship.
And it took several weeks, right, to get that long distance?
It took about 6 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's quite an adventure. Quite an adventure for sure. All right. Well, let's go on to the next true or false question. Okay. Janis, true or false? Your cooking skills are so well known, the Food Network wants to feature you and your bacon wrapped turkey on a new show.
False, but true.
Oh,
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
Tell everybody about your cooking skills. I mean, Janis does have cooking skills, and about your bacon wrapped turkey. What are we talking about here?
Well, bacon wrapped turkey. Okay, well, at Thanksgiving, and this is a recipe I found on the internet. It just showed up or Facebook or something. And it's just the turkey with bacon over the top. And when I saw that, it reminded me when my mom used to cook chicken when we were back in Australia, she used to put bacon over the top of it. So now I just kind of weave bacon on top of my turkeys, and it adds extra flavor.
I can attest. It's very, very good. Now, you were self-taught cook, right? You didn't take any cooking lessons or anything like that. Am I right?
No, totally self-taught.
You didn't learn in the galley and the sea organization. No.
No, I learned to wash dishes in the galley.
Okay. All right. Next question. True or false? You once were president of the Nevada Mortgage Brokers Association.
True.
Tell everybody about that.
Was. Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, for years while I was in the mortgage industry, I just kind of kept to myself, and, wholesale reps would come in. And then I went off on my own and started my own mortgage company. And I was approached by the president of the association at that time saying, why don't you join the board? So I joined the board and started to get to know more people in the industry, and ended up as the president for like about 4 or 5 years. And I also went on as a member of the advisory council called the Mortgage Advisory Council for the state of Nevada. And I then became the president of that after being on that for probably about 12 years. And
that's without any high school education, let alone any almost elementary education. Am I correct, Janis?
I had 3 months of 7th grade. That's my high school education.
And look at what she's achieved. That's really wonderful. Okay, next question. All right. True or false? With the cost of eggs reaching an all-time high in the USA, are you considering opening an egg production business?
Am I considering? I already have.
Well, I'm just saying, why don't you tell people what we're talking about here?
I got 5 chickens, of which one turned out, I had names for all of them. And then Henrietta turned out being a Henry. So that knocked me down to 4 chickens. So, and then my sister and her ranch hand got some chickens. So yeah, now I probably get about 5 dozen eggs a week.
And you don't eat them all, right? You give them away. That's what I said. You should be starting a business. Shoot, a dozen eggs now is what? $6, $7? It's ridiculous.
So I text friends, need eggs? and then yesterday the gardener was here, and I'm like, oh, I've got extra eggs. So I'm taking the gardener eggs, asking if he wants some.
Okay, that's a good answer. Next question. True or false? If a zombie apocalypse happens, you have enough food stored in your freezer to last for years.
True.
Let me tell you a story. I was at Janis's and we had like a bunch of people over and having dinner at a party, and I brought ice cream. And I said to Janice, where do you want me to put the ice cream? Oh, she goes, go out in the freezer in the garage and just put it in there. And I opened up the door, and I have never seen so many frozen vegetables, frozen fruit, frozen food, you name it. It was chock-a-block full. And not only that, her garage is full of all of her vitamins and her koala calm products and all that. And I went, holy smokes. I said, I think I know where I'm going when World War III starts and we're out of food. I'm coming living at Janis's house.
Yeah, I remember you walking in and saying, I know where I'm going.
Oh my God, I'm teasing Janis, but yeah, I mean, you roll through that stuff, I guess, right? I told her, I said, doesn't that stuff go bad after a while?
Yeah, you gotta rotate through it. But even like the eggs, before I started fighting people to give the eggs to, I've frozen egg bites that I've made, and I've scrambled eggs. I've got jars full of eggs, that I studied preserving eggs and stuff like that. And, thankfully I actually made those egg bites because I smelt a gas leak on my stove, and I called the gas company, and now there's a leak. One of my burners is leaking. So my stove shut off, and they need the part, and it's going to take 10 days. So I'm like, how do I make my morning eggs? So I'm now warming up egg bites.
Okay, well, that's the egg business. Let's go on. We're going to move along here with more true or false. I'm almost done here. Okay, true or false? You, your father and sister recently became U.S. citizens and have dual citizenship.
True. Yes.
Tell that story.
In 2019, my dad and I got our U.S. citizenship. And this is after being in the U.S. like over 40 years. So it was a long overdue in happening. And then my sister finally got hers last year. So, yeah, that was a great accomplishment.
What did you have to do in order to become a U.S. citizen? Because you'd been here on a green card for years and years. Of course, you were married to Paul, too, right?
Yeah, but I got my green card through my mother being married to Heber when I was 20 years old, because I was under 21. So that's how I got my green card. But I had my green card all those years. And I was like, at the time, Australia didn't allow dual citizenship. So that's why I didn't become a U.S. citizen. And then when they allowed it to be a dual, then I thought, okay, I better do this. But then I still didn't do it right away. But I had to study and prepare myself to be able to answer 10 questions out of 100. So you've got to study about the, Constitution and the Revolution and all that kind of stuff. And then you go in and you pass the test. It's a verbal test. And, you get fingerprinted and all that groovy stuff. And then eventually you get it. And it's a real cool, once you qualify, you go down to the courthouse, and there's maybe 100 people there who are all there to get their citizenship. And it's a great service ceremony that they do, acknowledging people for having accomplished that, and everyone gets a certificate.
That's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we're proud to have you as a United States citizen, and I'm sure you're still proud to be an Australian, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's the end of true or false. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next section here, okay, which is, what are you watching? Okay, these are recommendations, things that I've been watching on TV and movies, things like that. And Janis, one of the things I got you to watch recently was the TV series Lost, okay, which
yes.
Which had been out for, it ended like 14 years ago, but it is my favorite TV show of all time. And you binge watched it, right? Tell everybody about that.
I did. I don't know how many seasons it was, but it was a lot of seasons. But yeah, at first I and then I started getting into it and learning all the different characters. And I would just go and crawl into my, I have a sauna sleeping bag type of thing. So I crawl into that, and I got the dogs on either side of me, and I just binge watch.
That's right. That's right. And it's a great show. If anybody hasn't seen Lost, many people probably have. But anyway, one thing I wanted to mention on my channel here at Las Vegas Travel and More, I went to Hawaii about 10 years ago, and I went and took a tour of all the different locations on Hawaii, because it was all filmed on Oahu, where they filmed the show, and it was great. And so I did a show. This is part one, and then this is part two, where I cover, and I have the photographs and show you the different parts of the island that I went to that were part of the show. So if you're interested in Lost or anything like that, just on my channel, Las Vegas Travel and More, it's there. You can find Lost and part two, Lost. And I hope you enjoy that show, and also the two shows that I did there. Okay. I wanted to mention a show that I want to recommend to people right now is Shogun, is on Hulu and FX. And I don't know if people know much about Shogun or not. I mean, some of the people that are our age will probably remember. It was a best-selling book in 1975 by James Clavell, and it's a novel of Japan. And it talks about this English sailor in the 1600s who gets shipwrecked in Japan. And he basically is like a stranger in a strange land. And he has to kind of adapt to this samurai society. And there's a lot of political intrigue going on, and romance, and you name it. And it is my favorite novel of all time. I read the book in paperback years ago. It's 1,300 pages. And then I got it on audio. I got the audio edition, I don't know, about 10 years ago. And I've listened to it another 5 times. It's so good. It's about 40 hours long. And it is by far my favorite book. So I was really happy when they decided to do the adaptation and have it here on FX and Hulu. So they're going to have the season finale on Tuesday, right? The other thing I wanted to mention about it is in 1980 they did a Shogun off of the book, and it starred Richard Chamberlain as the main character, John Blackthorne, and Toshiro Mifune was Lord Toranaga. And I have that on DVD as well, and I love that whole series that was made in 1980. So it was really nice to see that they redid it, and it is different from the book and also different from this series in several ways. I'm not going to go into that here, but I just wanted to highly recommend anybody, if you haven't seen Shogun yet, it's really good. It's on FX, it's on Hulu. And the only thing I wanted to mention is because they speak in Japanese, a lot of the characters, because it takes place in Japan and it's beautiful. So there's English subtitles and lots of times when they're talking. Just get used to reading it. I'm so old, I couldn't get through Game of Thrones without having the subtitles on, because even the people speaking English in Game of Thrones, I couldn't understand what the heck they were saying. So anyway, so us old fogies, we put the closed captioning on sometimes, all the time. So if you can bear with that, I think you really enjoy Shogun. And I just wanted to highly recommend that series. There's one other thing I wanted to mention that's new on Netflix. And we did a show on our other channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion, about the group Anonymous and how they protest. There's Misha, how they protest against Scientology in the 2008, these huge protests and all that. Well, there's a new documentary about Anonymous called The Antisocial Network: Memes to Mayhem. It's brand new. It's only been out about 3 days. So if you're interested in seeing that documentary where they actually interview the guys who started Anonymous and all that, it's on Netflix. You can find it, The Antisocial Network: Memes to Mayhem. And then you can see on our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion, the interview we did with Mitch Brisker, who used to be the director of Scientology and who was actually involved in the trying to stop Anonymous from doing what they were doing. There's a show we have on our channel regarding Anonymous, and I'll put a link regarding that in the description below on the channel. Janis, are you watching anything else these days?
I'm watching Shogun right now. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, when Paul was around, he was our social director of what movies and series we would watch. So, and he always liked to watch different things where I'd like to binge. So I don't have someone now, unless you say to me, oh, you got to watch this. So otherwise, I really don't pay attention. Sometimes I don't even put the TV on. But now I've got the boys, they like to sit down with me, and that forces me to watch TV. So
And then the
I've
other
been
series
doing
that you like to
Shogun.
watch, you were behind on this too, but you watched Homeland, right? With Claire Danes, and
Yeah,
you enjoyed that, right? There's like 7
I
seasons of
I
that.
did. Yes, I did enjoy that.
Yeah, that's kind of an action-packed series where they're fighting terrorists and terrorism around the world and everything, and it's really, really well done. Called Homeland, and it was on Showtime, and I think it's now on. You can find it on Hulu and
Yeah.
Amazon Prime, things like that. So anyway, I wanted to mention that. Okay, next segment here. What are you reading? Okay, what books are you reading, everybody out there? It's a good thing to read. Reading is fundamental, as they used to say. Anyway, this book was mentioned last week by Denver Stevo when he was on my channel, and I actually had read it just recently. And it's the biography of Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. And I listened to the audiobook, and it's really, if you're interested in Elon Musk, he's very influential in the world. He's done some tremendous things, and he also can be a bit of an a-hole as well. And this is an in-depth biography that he participated in, as well as allowing his family and friends and people he worked with to participate in. So it's kind of an authorized biography, warts and all. And I highly recommend it because I find Elon Musk fascinating. Between his SpaceX program, which is putting rockets into orbit, and eventually he wants to go to Mars. To obviously his Tesla and the electronic vehicles, and a lot of the other things that he does. I think you'll find it very interesting indeed, and it's called Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. And Janis, you are tell everybody about you. You own a Tesla, right? What's that like? You got a nice Tesla. What's it like?
I do. I do. We got it secondhand with only
Yeah.
1,200 miles on it. So I enjoy it. I've had it for 4 years now, and I just get in, the door opens for me. I get in, the door closes for me. It's smooth. I just enjoy it.
Quiet,
It's
right?
quiet. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And mine's big enough that, I have a little step, and Rocky just jumps into the back where Moose can't get himself up. So I have to get him to get a back leg onto the step, and then he can get in. But the back is big enough to hold the two of them.
That's right. And then of course also you and Paul, he decided to get you guys, you've got solar power at your house as well, right? I mean, you've got solar panels and a battery backup and the whole bit at your house, right?
Right. Yes, I do. Yes.
And
So
does that save you money? I mean, on your electric bill and all that?
Oh yeah, if I don't have the pool pump going a lot, I pay maybe $20 a month in electrical, and I don't have to go to the gas station. So basically, my transportation is free of charge.
Yeah,
To
you
get
don't
charged.
you don't have energy problems in terms of that sort of thing. And
Right.
but anyway, there's Misha, sorry.
Yeah. And then on the pool, I also have solar heating on my swimming pool, and that, that's just the pump going. And right now my pool is 86 degrees. So it's April and I'm swimming.
Yeah. Remember, I asked you yesterday, I said, couldn't you run the solar, since it's solar heated, couldn't you run it year round if you wanted to? And you said, yeah, but the pipes will freeze up in the wintertime if it gets below zero or below freezing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to move on. One last section here. I want to talk about, Janis, about your business. You've got a business. It's called Outback Naturals, right? And I'd like you to tell people about that, how the business started and all that, okay?
Yes, Outback Naturals. I started that in 2011. We'd had the crash in the mortgage industry and everything else back in 2007, 2008. And it was getting harder and harder to stay in the mortgage business. So in 2011, I was going to get out of the industry. And I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? All I know since I left Scientology was mortgages. And then my dad came to visit us because Scientology told him to handle me because I was speaking out. And so he came to Las Vegas to get me to stop speaking out. And that's when I said, well, I mentioned I'm going to get out of the mortgage industry and I need to figure out what to do. And could I maybe work with him? Well, I couldn't work with him because I was a suppressive person. But he said that I could start my own company and I could get my product from him and just he would label it for me for whatever my label was. So that's how I started. I started with his product, CalMag, which is calcium magnesium. And that's my product there. And I started with that. And then he had a product called Natural Calm. And he had already sold his company at this point, but he thought he still was like, he hadn't sold it in full, so he thought he still was in charge of it. So he gave me all this permission, and I then took his Natural Calm, and we were relabeling that as Koala Calm. And then he ran into trouble with the people who had bought his company from him, who had been his own executives. And that then started a whole lawsuit. But I then got my own manufacturer and started manufacturing my own without having to depend on my dad's prior company. And so now I just do all my own manufacturing with a local manufacturer here in Vegas.
Right. I said you sell it online, but also don't you sell it through Amazon and through you've got a store too, right? You took over your dad's store. Tell people how you distribute it and how that works.
Yeah, I do. I distribute it mostly through Amazon and my own website. And I also have my dad, well, he's now passed away. He passed away 3 years ago at 93 years old. But I took over his store, which is Peter Gillham's Nutrition Center. And that still exists down in Los Angeles near the Scientology complex. And it also has a website, vites.com, vites.com. So I have that. So my Outback product is sold on both in the store and on vites.com. And also those same products are under my dad's label of Peter Gillham's Life Essentials.
Yeah, and then what's it like running your own business? I mean, when you start, you had no experience with this sort of thing. I mean, for people out there that are thinking about their own business, I'm sure there's ups and downs. Tell everybody, what's it like?
It does. It has its ups and downs, and and there's a lot of complimenting, of your achievement by when you look at it and you see that your income's coming in and people are liking your product. To me, that was a major accomplishment, to have people appreciate a good product and write good reviews, and see the results it's having for people. That people are saying they can sleep better because of your products, or they're less stressed and feeling more relaxed, or their muscles don't cramp anymore. So it's a nice validation of yourself because you're helping people. And I like to help people. So, and like right now, I'm getting a liquid vitamin done up, because when you get older, a lot of people can't swallow pills. So if I can come up with a good liquid vitamin with all the vitamins that one needs, then I feel I've accomplished something. So that's what I'm working on right now.
That's great. So anyway, just wanted to show everybody. So this is your product, Koala Calm, which is the magnesium drink, right? And then you've got, I just picked these other products at random. You've got the original calcium magnesium, CalMag. That's unflavored, right?
Yeah, that one is. I also have it in raspberry lemon flavor.
Okay. And then the Koala Calm, you have in apple cinnamon and unflavored, right?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay. And then tell everybody about the joint formula there on the right, because that's also available.
Yeah, the joint formula has actually been very successful. It's got turmeric and all sorts of nifty stuff. But I've had friends who have come to stay with me and they complain about the joint. So I give them a bottle and, then they end up just buying it. And they're like, oh, my God, it helps me so much. with their joints no longer feeling rusty.
Yeah, well, you can order the Qualicom or the joint formula. Just click on the merchandise link down in the description, and you can click on there and order it directly at that site. And also, you can go to outbacknaturals.com and also look it up on Amazon too. And you can order the product if you are so inclined. The other thing I want to mention too, if you'd like an autographed copy of Janis's book, that same merchandise link in the description, you can click on that. Janis will autograph a book and send it to you. So if you want to order it, you can do that there as well. I wanted to see if anybody has any questions or comments now. And let's see if but I got to go back in here and see the comments here. I don't think we have a lot, but just wanted to see if you've got a question, write question, get in the chat, and we'll answer any questions that you might have here. We already answered that one. Here we go. This is from Peter Anderson. Question: what is your opinion that locals like to joke that the orange traffic cone is Nevada state flower?
True.
Yeah,
they're always working on the roads to improve them. We don't have potholes. We've got pretty good road service.
Except there are orange cones. Literally, I can tell you, I'll turn on a road that yesterday was free and clear, and then there'll be orange cones up for no reason, and there's nobody there working on things. It happens all the time. The other thing that happened that they used to say when we were in Boomtown and they were building resorts and hotels all over is that you'd see these big, huge cranes, and people would say, "Oh, the Nevada state bird is the crane."
That's right. That's right. Now it's the cone.
That's right. We got the cone as the flower. All right, let's see. Here's a comment here, I think. This is from Cheyenne Calkins. Thank you so much for watching. I'm a Salt Lake native and recently learned that Las Vegas has a huge Mormon population. As a non-Mormon, I had kids tell me when I was young they couldn't play with me. Did your kids deal with that? Janis, that's a question for you. A good one.
It's a very good one. My kids went to elementary school with a lot of Mormon kids, and the Mormon kids, if you weren't a Mormon, they just didn't play with you. That's very true. And my son wasn't invited to birthday parties because he wasn't a Mormon, same as my daughter. My daughter actually came home one day upset because these kids were asking her if she was a Mormon or not. And my husband, he says, and she's like, well, what religion are we if we're not Mormon? And he says, tell them we're pagans. And that was probably the cruelest thing he could do, because then she goes back to school and, well, we're a pagan.
That's funny.
And
that's funny.
She actually had a best friend who she couldn't go and stay the weekend with them unless she went to church with them. So for years, she went to the Mormon church just to be able to hang out with her friend. And my son, the kids he went to elementary school with, he was also in high school with them. And they were the ones who were all on the basketball team, the volleyball team, tennis. And my son actually managed to get on those teams, but there was probably two of them, him and another boy, who were sometimes three. Otherwise, the rest were all Mormons. The three of them were non-Mormons, but the rest were all Mormons. It's very cliquish.
Yeah, but they have Mormon churches all over town here. But I haven't had, I've done business with people that are Mormons and all that. It's not really been any problem. But I guess with children, who are your friends and all that, it's kind of. Go ahead.
I have a good story to tell.
Go for it.
I was in Florida.
I
was in Florida for a wedding, and it was Mother's Day weekend, and I get a phone call from a mother of a kid that my son played tennis and basketball with. And she is telling me about what a great son I have and how wonderful I've raised him. And this is coming from a Mormon mom. I find out from her and my son that a bunch of the Mormon boys had been out drinking. And my son had gotten a phone call, and his best friend was a Mormon. So my son got the phone call saying, hey, your tennis partner is out drinking and they're driving around. So my son and his best friend get in the car, and they're like trying to find out where are the boys. So they go as the Mormon boys are all coming out of the house and getting into a car, different cars. My son is like, okay, let's follow them and find out where they're going and try and stop this. So my son is following, and he sees his tennis partner drunk hanging out the window, and then he sees the driver of the car doing a whippet, and that is the gas in the bottom of a whipped cream can. Apparently they inhale that or something. He was doing whippet at stop signs. So my son calls the mother, and his best friend is like, oh my God, I am just so in awe of you. You're calling the mom? Anyway, he calls the mom and tells her where all these drunk Mormon boys are going. They're going back to the old elementary school to hang out. So the Mormon mom calls all the other Mormon moms, because my son says, okay, these are the boys who are drinking. And they're all there now at the elementary school drunk. And suddenly all the Mormon parents surround them. And one of the dads is kind of being cocky. I don't see my son here. And so my son points to the bush and says he's in there.
Oh,
anyway,
no.
Anyway, it was nice to have a Mormon mom call me and acknowledge how great my son was, because he had the guts to call a parent and report them.
Yep. Cheyenne Calkins again says, I thought about as much. Janis, kids don't have a filter and end up telling you the truth. My mom says you don't go to church, so I can't be your friend. It happened a lot. And then Cheyenne also says, glad they had your son to be responsible friend, looking out for them. That could have been ended so tragically. Absolutely.
It really could have. Totally.
That's absolutely. Okay, great. I got another question here. This is from Pamela Crawford. Hi, Pamela. How you doing? Is it expensive to become a U.S. citizen?
It depends what you consider expensive, but I think it was less than $1,000. I think it was around $600.
Is that for attorneys, or what is that for?
No. You just go online, file it yourself, and you pay a application fee, and then it goes through the whole process.
How about this? Don't you have to, like, isn't there like training you have to do, like schooling you have to do about American history and stuff like that? Do you have to pay for that, or is that included?
You do that yourself, or you just go online and take the tests, or until you can answer every single one of the 100 questions right, and then you go in and they pick 10 of those questions and ask them of you.
Okay, I'm going to pop quiz you after we get off the air to make sure you still know what you're talking about.
I know more American history than a lot of high school kids.
I don't doubt that 1 second. Trust me, I don't doubt that at all. Anyway, I just wanted to say we've reached the end of the show here. We wanted to really thank everybody for watching here. If you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We really appreciate it. If you've got any questions or comments, please ask them in the comments down below. I check them all the time, and I really appreciate that. And then if you'd like to support the channel, you can donate by buying me a coffee. There's a link in the description. You can buy me 1, 2, 3. I can drink as much coffee as you want to give me. So anyway, you can make it. It's just another way of making a donation to the channel. And the money I get, I just put back into the channel. So anyway, I really appreciate the support. And then finally, if you want to order some of Janis's products, like I mentioned, the Koala Calm, the Joint Formula, if you want an autographed copy of her book, just go down in the description. There's a link to our merchandise store. You click on that, you can order it there, and we will get it shipped out to you. And Pamela Crawford, I just received the salve I preferred from Erin. Love it. Yeah, your daughter Erin has a CBD salve, right? That helps as well, right?
Yeah, and she was so excited last night because a repeat customer ordered 3 jars.
Wow. And then you can order it. You can order it's a CBD salve with emu oil. It's really, really effective. You can get the details and order it at www.healedbyoracle.com. That's healedbyoracle.com. You can order that there, or just find out about it there at that website. And that's Janis's daughter, Erin, who has that company and that business. So anyway, Janis, I wanted to thank you. I hope people have learned more about you, more than they probably want to know, but I thought you were a real trooper answering the true and false questions honestly. And I want to thank you for being here. And do you have anything else you would like to say before, we sort of end off the show?
I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it too, and I enjoy the thank you for your support as always. And we
Yep.
want to thank everybody that's watching. If you didn't watch it live, I want to thank you if you watched the replay. And we'll be back. I'll be back next week with another guest, another show. It's Saturdays at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you want to watch another video, I'll have one tagged here right now that you can watch on my channel. And until next week, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.